So let me actually lay out some names that you probably are familiar with and show you how they connect with this theme of being high or lifted up or even exaltation. So the first name is Abram. So in the Old Testament, our ancient forefather, Abraham, his original name was Abram. And the name Ab means father. And Ram, as you know, means exalted. So his name probably means exalted father. And it's probably referencing who Abraham or Abram was actually worshiping, but it also tells us something about what we all can become if we follow the gospel path, that we can become exalted mothers and fathers. Well, then we have other names in the Book of Mormon like Zoram, like the Zoramites. And again, you see the word Ram, which is exalted or high or lifted up. And Zoram may mean he who is lifted up. And by the way, if you want more great meanings of names in the Book of Mormon, look for the scholarship of Dr. Matt Bowen from BYU, Hawaii. Really amazing scholar, and he's made a lot of these discoveries. Now, what's interesting is the Zoramites, what do? They lift themselves up. They're prideful. They're self-exalting. Kind of interesting. In fact, how do they do that? Let me just map out these words here so we can see them better. They build a high tower. And what's the name of that high tower where they can lift themselves up? You got it. It's a Ram, high tower, Rameumptum. Okay? So it's very interesting. In the name Rameumptum, we actually have the Hebrew word Ram, which means to be high or lifted up. And so God wants to exalt us, but to think that we should do it on our own is a core problem. We cannot exalt ourselves. We can't. Doesn't matter how tall the tower is. The people at the Tower of Babel tried this. It just didn't work. Okay, that was the same thing. The Zoramites probably should have read their scriptures that tall towers getting yourself into heaven always end in disaster and confusion. One more name that I think is really fun is the word Hyrum. Now in ancient Hebrew, this name was actually spelled slightly differently as Hyrum. Notice the word exaltation or high or lifted up. And actually in Hebrew, you'd have this little word, letter ah in there. And Hyrum means my brother. The word is brother, and the little I in there makes it my. My brother is exalted. And I just love that Joseph Smith's brother's name is my brother's exalted. It's a great witness for what God did for Joseph Smith because of his faithfulness. So, call to action here is as you're looking through the scriptures, you're looking for messages for how God will exalt us and how we can avoid the devil's trap of trying to self-exalt. And partly what we're seeing here in Alma 30 to 31 is a group of people led by a man who exalts himself and sets up an entire religion around self-exaltation. And what we learn is that that is a disaster. But it's not a disaster when we let God exalt us through his son, Jesus Christ, who truly is the exalted one.